The Munchables. You know, that was definitely a hard game for me to write a review for. The game, simply put, is weird. It is a standard 3D platformer, but it's also very different. This game is obviously taking some cues from the Katamari Damacy series. In that series, your goal is to make yourself as big as possible, but your goal in this game is to eat as much as possible. But as you do that, you'll get bigger and bigger, to the point where entire levels that were originally hard to maneuver around are a breeze to navigate. The story is about a bunch of space pirates who have stolen the legendary orbs, which kind of looks like colored poo. Alright, maybe that's unfair. Just because it looks like that doesn't mean that the creators purposely... Alright, maybe they did. But you know what? That's not the most disturbing thing you could see. This is. That'll tear you up. You start off the game with the choice of 2 characters, and they each play differently, but not that much, but enough to make the experience feel a little bit different. The controls in the game were simple. You use the B button to attack and the A button to eat. To jump, you have to waggle the Wiimote, and that was the most annoying part of the controls. I wish they had mapped the jump button to the nunchuck, instead of making us jerk the Wiimote to do it. But I did find out after I returned the game that it supports the classic controller. So I wish I had played the game with that, so I could bypass the motion jump controls. Oh well. The game plays like a 3D platformer. The basic idea is that you have to eat the enemies to make your world at peace again. The problem is that some of the enemies are more powerful than you. As you eat the lower experienced enemies, you'll start to level up. As you level up, you'll find it easier and easier to eat the enemies around you. Sometimes the enemies' levels may be too high, so you're going to have to attack them to break them apart into less powerful enemies. Oftentimes you'll have to do this a few times to get your enemies down to a level you can actually eat. As you eat the enemies, your belly will get full. When it gets full, you grow up a little bit more. What that means is that it's going to be easier to get around the screen because you're bigger, and places that were hard to reach before are just an easy hop away. If you get hit by one of the enemies, you'll temporarily get tiny, and if you get hit again in this mode, you will die, and it'll be game over. However, you shouldn't worry too much about this, since it's fairly easy to run away while you're waiting the 5 seconds for you to return to normal. Also in each level, there's an item to help your character out, and they were usually amusing little helpers. And these items were always helpful in your goal to eat as much as you can. There are 8 worlds to explore with 3 levels on each world, 2 playable levels, and a boss level. The levels themselves are not that challenging. The most challenging part of the game involves trying to figure out the puzzles of the area, but once you do that, the game just turns into an easy 3D platformer. Like I said before, at the end of every world is a boss fight, and those are usually pretty tricky. They were very clever on how you had to figure out how to kill the boss. And on some of them, you might even be stumped for a while. They did remind me of the bosses in Kirby 64, with its circular level layout design and fighting them. There are extras you can unlock, like watching the cutscenes in the game, and getting information on all the monsters that you come up against. There was also an extra that you could put accessories on your character. But none of these extras were really that great. Munchables is just an average platformer. You'll enjoy it while you're playing it, but it really won't make a lasting impression on you. I definitely think this game is worth a rent, but even at the budget price of $30, I didn't enjoy it enough to worthy a buy. Maybe if it was $10 less, but for now, it's only worth a rent.